Yo, what up, nerd? So, you've probably seen the title of this video, that Moondrop does not want you to know about this IEM. But why though? So, Moondrop has this IEM, it's called the Blessing 2, maybe you've heard of it. It's a 320 to 350, depending on the faceplate that you choose, IEM that is supposed to be neutral. And what neutral means is basically it's supposed to play the music as it's supposed to sound. No other bass, no other treble, no other midrange, no other nothing. Just sound exactly like the music is supposed to sound. And the Blessing 2 is really good. I love it. I own one. It's one of my favorite IEMs. But this one that we're going to talk about today is something special, because it's also a set that's tuned to be neutral. It is in a very similar price range. In fact, it costs $300, so a bit less than the Blessing 2. And it's better? Question mark? I mean, no question mark. It is better. At least for this reviewer, which, I am biased. Link in the description. But yes, it is legitimately better than the Blessing 2. Costs a bit cheaper. And it's a relatively unknown product. So today, we're talking about the iBasso AM05. Now, you might think, iBasso, doesn't that mean there's going to be a lot of bass? That's what I thought when I was first suggested this IEM, because iBasso, most of the IEMs they make are true to their name. They are really bassy. But this one is pure neutral. In fact, I'll throw the graph up on the screen, courtesy of Crinicle. This graph matches Crinicle's neutral target very closely. In fact, closer than the Blessing 2 or his own Blessing 2 Dusk for that matter. So that's kind of insane. So let's talk about it. Is it actually as good as it seems? Well, to get the non-sound stuff out of the way, yes, it has a pretty nice unboxing experience, worthy of the money. You get a really nice metal case. You get 5 sets of tips. You get foams, you get narrow board tips, and 3 different pairs of wideboard tips. I use the white ones for the most part, and they're actually decent. They're not the best tips you can get with any IEM, but they're pretty nice. Although I ended up using the spring tips by Moondrop, because they ended up adding just a tiny bit of bass, which actually erased one of my main complaints about this set, which we'll get to very soon. But yeah, the unboxing experience is pretty good. The build quality, I am not a big fan of the build quality on the set, sadly. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's cheap or badly built, right? It is a resin set, full-on resin, no seams, no vents, no nothing, just resin. You get this it's transparent on the back and blue or green, depending on the color you choose, on the front. But I don't know, it just feels a bit cheaper than the Blessing 2 when it comes to build quality. And also when it comes to the accessories, because you get a 2.5 to MMCX cable, which I love MMCX, my favorite connector by far, but 2.5 millimeter would not be my favorite connector. But you also get a 2.5 to 3.5 adapter in the box, so you can plug it into any source you want, like balanced or single-ended with the stock cable. So that's nice that they include a balanced option straight in the box. But overall, the build quality is definitely not what I would get this set for. I would give this win to the Blessing 2 easily. But when it comes to the comfort, they trade blows. But they don't really trade blows in being excellent. They trade blows in being different flavors of mediocre, really. Because the Blessing 2, it's huge. And it has this thick nozzle that just feels kind of uncomfortable in your ear after a while. Whereas the AM05, it is smaller than the Blessing 2. And it's got a thinner but longer nozzle. So what ends up happening is you get quite a deep fit with those, actually. I'll demonstrate with B-roll right now. And it's comfortable. The fit security is really good. It stays in your ear perfectly. But you do get like a bit of pressure buildup, and there is a way to remedy that, and we'll talk about it in when I go to the sound, because proper seal is really important with those. But also, one problem that just happens to me is like when I put them on, after like 20 minutes of listening, I get like a bit of like itchiness in my inner ear, no matter what tips I use. I mean, then I just, take them out and just like use a Q-tip or something to scratch myself there. I put them back on and then I can listen for hours. But it happens like pretty much every time I put them on, which is weird. So comfort, not really the biggest fan, but it's not bad. It's solid comfort, let's just say. And the fit security, which is like when you do get a seal, they won't come out of your ears. That's excellent. So plus for that. But yeah, okay. All of this aside, let's get to the sound. When it comes to the sound, it's really important to get a great seal. And what I mean by that is like, it's not enough to just get a seal, because like, if basically there are 3 stages with this IEM. If you don't have a good seal, like you just hear the upper, mid-range and treble, like, with any IEM when you do not get a good seal. But because it's unvented, you can get like a vacuum seal, which is they seal in your ears perfectly. You get amazing like noise isolation, but they sound a bit muffled. So what you need to do then is kind of like pull on your ears to release this pressure, and then you get like a perfect seal without the vacuum stuff, and then they sound their best. So it sounds complicated on the video. It's really like a simple maneuver every time. I just put them in my ears, put them quite deep, pull on my ear, and there we go, perfect seal. But, it took me a while to figure it out. That's why I'm using actually the smallest spring tips from Moondrop, which is like, I normally use the large tips, but with this one, because it fits so deep, I use the small tips and they work perfectly for my ear. All right, so starting off with like the real sound portion, the tuning on this set really is neutral. But when it comes to the bass, like the word I think of is fast and clean. It is like extremely clean. Like it does not bleed into the mid-range at all. Like you get excellent separation between bass and the mid-range. The only real fault I have with it is like if you watch my other reviews, I very rarely want more bass in the set that I'm reviewing. I'm a big fan of neutral bass, but with this one in particular, I would like those 2 to 3 decibels more of mid bass, just to give like bass guitars and kick drums some more presence in the mix. But like, so if you're a bass head, do not get this set, because the bass is like definitely not the focus, but like the quality is excellent. Like no matter how busy the song, and we'll talk about it when we get to the mid-range and treble, but no matter how busy the song, like you won't get like bass bleed into other frequencies. It's just the speed, the detail, the texture to the bass is quite excellent. And actually, which I was surprised, because this is a 5BA set, there is no dynamic driver here, but like the bass is decently punchy. Like, yes, in the like lowest frequencies below like 40 hertz, it is definitely rolled off and it doesn't rumble as much as one would like. But in like the mid-bass frequency, it can punch surprisingly well. Like I listened to Tamagotchi by Taco Hemingway, Fidra and Dawid Podsiadło. That's like a trio song in Polish. It's a rap song, and the beat was like really punchy. I liked it. But yeah, bass definitely not the focus, but good technical performance in this region. So next up, we get the mid-range, right? And when it comes to the mid-range, I straight up like it better than the Blessing 2, because you don't get this like over boosted upper mid-range that Moondrop likes to do. And like, I don't know, in my opinion, this mid-range feels cleaner and fuller at the same time, because you get like a better, like, in my opinion, this is like almost a perfect balance between like upper and lower mid-range frequencies. So both male and female voices will sound amazing. Like no matter if you're listening to Santana, Tom Odell, Ed Sheeran, Maisie Peters or Ariana Grande, all of those vocalists sound correct, which is, it is so rare that I come upon an IEM that does that. or a headphone for that matter. Like even with the HD600, there are some vocals that I'm just like, nah, too much upper mids. But with this one, it's like, I don't think I've encountered a vocal that I didn't like on this set. Maybe Chester Bennington. It was like, that was one where I had some minor quibbles with, but like out of like hundreds of songs, because I had this set for 2 months now, because you know me, like when I have something bad to review or something mediocre, I pump this review out very fast. But when I have something really good, I want to make sure that it's really good and find like every flaw so I don't just mindlessly shit it to you. And you know, that's all I could find in 2 months with this set. It is nutty. And other instruments like guitars, like, you know, strings, everything just sounds, oh my god, so good. There is a lot of detail in the mid-range. Slightly less than on the Blessing 2, I would say. Definitely slightly less. But, like, still, the detail is kind of nuts. And what this has definitely over the Blessing 2 is amazing resolution and separation in the mid-range. So what that means is like, even if you have the most busy song with like a ton of instruments, right? With the shittiest mastering ever. Think Through the Flyer and Flames by Dragon Force. This song is shit when it comes to mastering. It's an amazing song when it comes to like, you know, the song part, but it's like completely shit when it comes to master. There is so many sounds and they all blend together on most sets. Like on the Blessing 2, on pretty much any IEM I tried, even on the Z1R, they did blend together slightly. On this set, you can hear the electric guitars, you can hear them, the vocals separately, you can hear all the drums. Like it's nutty. Like the only things that I found with resolution like this are headphones, and not headphones in this price range. It's like the 3 I would mention would probably be the HD800S, the LCD-X, and of course the final D8000 Pro. The cheapest one of those is like $1,200. This is $300. What the fuck? And when it comes to IEMs, okay, the Thea Audio Monarch, I think does that thing pretty much similarly. But that thing costs like $730 and I think it's discontinued. Again, $300 for this level of technical performance is like, what the fuck are you smoking? It's insanely good. Alright, moving on to the treble, so I don't just ramble on too long on this set. The treble, it's kinda uneven. It is definitely not the best part of the set, but I would still rate the treble like above the Blessing 2, for example. It's just I have some really good treble head sets like the final A4000 in my collection to compare to. And when compared to those sets, yeah, I would wish there was a bit more smoothness. But let me explain. There is a bit of an elevation in the lower treble, which can become a bit fatiguing, especially if you're sensitive in that region, right? It does, you know, definitely contribute to the sense of like detail in the music, right? But it's like, it can be a bit much. For me, I can listen to them for like 2 hours before needing a break, so it's definitely not bad and not sharp, not fatiguing to me. But if you're more sensitive in that 6 to 8K region than I am, it might be to you, so just a fair warning. But yeah, like when it comes to the upper treble, there is a bit of a roll-off, but it's definitely nowhere near as sharp as the graph would indicate. Like, actually looking at the graph, I think the Blessing 2 has a, like smoother roll-off, but that's not what I hear. The Blessing 2, to my ears, does not have any upper treble, pretty much. And this thing does. It has pretty good extension into the upper frequencies. So, I don't know about that. Like, I know graphs are not really accurate when it comes to treble, but just something weird I found. But yeah, like, when it comes to the quality of the treble, again, amazing speed, amazing clarity, amazing separation between instruments, and oh my god, like, the detail is nuts. The detail is just really nuts in the treble, like, even more so than in the mid-range and bass. You get so much treble detail, like, this is one of those few sets that makes me emotional. Like, HD800S did not do that to me. The things that do that to me are like the sometimes the HD600 actually does, but like the D8000 Pro, the LCDX, like those top tier planers with this like amazing detail retrieval, right? And this one, how like I listened to a few songs with like a lot of really good treble, like for example Vivaldi. I've been listening to too much Vivaldi because of Nymz and HVV. Concerto in E major, just the strings are wonderful. Propuesta Indecente by Romeo Santos. Holy shit, like the amount of detail in the drums and in the like strings and guitars is awesome, and in his voice also sounds great, because like he's got this like very high pitched voice that like needs a lot of treble extension, and it just sounds wonderful with that. Secrets by One Republic. Anything that features strings will just sound wonderful. That's it. Anything orchestral. I think one of the first songs that really impressed me with the set in my first impressions video was Welcome Home Sanitarium by Apocalyptica. Holy shit, that track. Alright. And when it comes to the body in the treble, because this is one thing that was like the biggest deal breaker on the Blessing 2 for me, it's like there is no body to the treble. Like things like cymbals and hi-hats just feel weightless. And I'm really happy to inform you that the AM05 does that better. There is some body to those cymbals, which is great, especially those drums. I don't know how they're called in the Propuesta Indecente song. They impress me so much because they are just so nice. I love it. But yeah, I see that this video is getting a bit long, so I'm not going to be comparing to the Blessing 2 today. I'm going to make a separate video when I have my Blessing 2 back, because like I did write notes on the comparison, but it would be nice to refresh my memory right before recording this video. I always do that just to just to give like the most fresh and fair comparison, right? So I'm not gonna do the comparison here. If this video hits, let's say, 15 likes in the first 3 days, then I will do like a 40-minute deep dive comparison between this set and the Blessing 2, because I think both deserve that video. But yeah, the last thing I'll touch on is the presentation. So things like Soundstage, we already said that, separation is great. It's not like, planar tier when it comes to separation, but the resolution is so much better than any planar IEM I have heard that doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, Soundstage on this set is like, it's kind of insane. It's not as wide as the A4000, alright? It is not, but it's close. Like, for example, like if you're listening to the A4000, you can sometimes hear sound like, way on the other side of the room from you, if you're in a large living room, right? But if you're listening to the AM05, they'll be like, 3 meters from you, which is still an insane soundstage for an IEM, but just not as good as the A4000. But like one thing the AM05 does that the A4000 cannot do is it can be intimate. It can play sounds in your head, and this contrast when you've got like the vocalist playing right in your head. Maisie Peters' "Not Friends, I'm Trying." It's a great song to demonstrate that. Or the Propuesta Indecente song by Romeo Santos. Holy shit, like you get the vocal right inside your head, like something like the HD600 would do, but you get all this soundstage around you. It's like, I'm not one of those soundstage freaks, but it's awesome. The imaging on the set, it's good. It's better than the Blessing 2, but it's, not as good as the A4000, I would say. So yeah, the imaging is good. You can, place the instruments in different points in space around you, but it's not as pinpoint laser focused as the A4000 is. Okay, so conclusion. I was surprised with this set because basically the reason I learned about this set is I met a Polish audiophile, Polish reviewer. He's called Mataudiophiles on Instagram, and I told him that I just bought the Moondrop Blessing 2 and I'm waiting for it to arrive. And he called me a moron. Because he said, why would you buy the Blessing 2 where the AM05 exists and is less boring? And I was like, what? I have never heard of this set. So I went home, I googled, and I couldn't really find any reputable reviews of it. I had some people who like had first impressions and said it's good, like Banbeo or Crinacle, but like they haven't really given the set a full review. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll bite the bullet, and I bought it. At first I actually ordered it just to try, but then I did end up buying it because yeah, it's basically a Blessing 2 with less space, but also less boring, and with even better technical performance. This set is insane. Like, you know me, I hate giving like 5-star reviews, but I can't not do that. This is when it comes to like pure sound. And if you know about me, I have 2 rating systems. I have the tier list, which is sound only and features not only IEMs but also earbuds, headphones, and everything. And I have the other rating system, which is value. The star rating is basically like value, fit, comfort, build quality, and sound combined. So basically, the tier list is how much I like it, and the star rating is how much I think you will like it, right? Of course, everyone's taste is different, so subjective. I am biased, link in the description below. I think I already said that, but yeah. So, on my tier list, this set is A+, which stands for fucking excellent. And it is the highest rated IEM on my entire tier list. Like, I heard the Z1R, I heard the Monarch, and they don't match up to this set for me personally. Do I think everyone will like them? No, I think some people will find the treble fatiguing, or some people will find the bass quantity just too little. But I don't think anybody will ever complain about the mid-range on this set, which is just top tier, or the technical performance, which is also just insane. So, yes, I have to do it. I have to give this set the full 5 stars. It is a definite casual audiophile recommendation. If you have $300 to spare and you want a neutral set, like this video and wait for my Blessing 2 versus AM05 comparison. But really, just buy the AM05, because as great as the Blessing 2 is, and I'm keeping both in my collection because I like both. I just prefer this. It's fucking nuts, mate. Alright, so on that note, just do all the YouTube jazz, subscribe to this channel, give me a like, comment if you ever try this IEM, or if you have the Blessing 2, if you want to try it. Basically, do some comments, boost my algorithm. I don't care. I don't really listen to you. I do, but shut the fuck up. I own the narrative that I don't give a fuck. Anyway, so speaking of not giving a fuck, take yours and fuck off.